what? It's playoff time on the I-Formation!
Hi, and welcome to the first playoff installment of the I-Formation. I'm Jeff Gibbons.
And I'm John Moist.
And you know what? Pretty successful season overall, John. We were close together on our picks. We were just sort of summing things up. Regrettably, we've lost the rest of the first part of the season is over with now because, you know, we wanted to go on like a good book, but we are now at the playoff stand. And we're into wildcard week this week. Our show is going to take on a little bit of a different format now because, of course, we're only looking at 4 games this week. Certainly, we're going to have a look at the matchups, see where we are. We're 3 picks apart right now for the year, and I think we're differing on one of these picks this week. So stick around in a moment. We're going to review our 4 picks and give you our final thoughts.
Hi, welcome back to the I-Formation. We're here with our picks for next week, and the first game we're going to look at is Cincinnati Bengals at Houston to play the Texans. What do you think?
Wouldn't you know it, this is the one we're going to start off differing on. Looked at this long and hard. What's really interesting is the momentum going into the playoffs. We've got a Cincinnati Bengals team that have won 7 of their last 8 games versus the Texans who have lost 3 or 4 and fallen from grace. Just like we talked about last week, Indianapolis went in there and knocked them for the number 1 seed down to number 3 out of the bye. In the past 4 games, Matt Schaub has thrown exactly 1 touchdown pass. And the Bengals' front 4 are the people to watch in this game. They actually accounted for 42 of a franchise record 51 sacks this year. The defense in the last 8 games, here's the stats on the Bengals. They've averaged 282 yards of offense against and an astounding 12.8 points average. I think they're meeting a wounded Texans team at the right time, even being at home right now. If they can continue to play the defensive ball they've been playing in the last 8 games, I think they beat the Texans at home and end their season early. Just my take.
I really think that Houston is a very strong home team. I think Cincinnati it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a close game, but I think Cincinnati is going to come up a bit short here because the Texans defensively are going to put it all together this week. They haven't been playing well, but I really think come playoff time, and I think Matt Schaub will put it together too. He's a veteran, and he's going to come to play. I think Houston wins a close one over Cincinnati, and I'm picking Houston because they're at home.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. And poor Schaub didn't get the chance last year, getting injured in the last game of the season, not being able to take his team into the playoffs. So he's probably got something to prove. But I'm going to stick with the Bengals. Yeah. Next, we've got the Vikes in the return match, or the grudge match now against the Green Bay Packers. And what are your thoughts here?
I don't see Minnesota being Green Bay 2 weeks in a row. Really respectful what Adrian Peterson has done this year, especially coming up only 9 yards short of setting the all-time rushing record for a single season. And but I think that the Packers at home are going to be too much for the Vikings to handle. And I see Green Bay winning this game by a couple of touchdowns, to tell you the truth.
I'm thinking, I think you're absolutely right there. I'm saying about 10 points. A couple of interesting stats here. Peterson, that's the game right there. They have to try to contain Adrian Peterson. In the 2 games he played this year versus Green Bay, ran for 409 yards on 55 carries. So that's sick running skills. But the reality is now, Green Bay's defense and secondary is healthier than they've been all year. So hopefully that's going to bode in their favor. A couple of matchups to watch here. The Packers left tackle Marshall Newhouse will be defending against Jared Allen. Now Jared Allen had 12 sacks this year, 3 of them against Green Bay. Need to make sure that they contain Jared Allen and keep that offensive line intact and give Aaron Rodgers a chance in the pocket.
Well, I guarantee you that Jared Allen will be getting through a few times.
Oh yeah, it's going to happen.
Rodgers gets hit a lot.
Another interesting piece in this puzzle is the corner, Antoine Winfield, the veteran corner now for the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, he came out of the game last week because he aggravated that broken hand of his. And Rodgers started to try to exploit that. Look for that again this week because he is an injured corner. He's going to play through the pain, absolutely, and that's what the sports writers are saying. But I think that, these couple of X factors. Another interesting stat, only twice in the NFL history have teams played 3 games against each other in a 6-week period, with the third one, of course, obviously being in the playoffs.
Oh.
I can't remember the teams. I know the Dolphins were involved in one of those. But in both cases, the team that won the first game of the year went on to win the final game. And in this case, the Vikings were beaten by Green Bay in the first of the 2 games played this year. So if that holds, I think you're right. I think it's a 10-point game, and I think Aaron Rodgers is going to shine. He's going to put this together. I think it's this team has been. They're better than the game they played last week against the Vikings, and I think that might be a bit of a false sense of security.
I think we're going to have a big game out of Jordy Nelson, just saying.
All righty. Next we've got Indianapolis versus the Baltimore Ravens. And what are your thoughts here?
I know there were some thoughts from Graham there earlier that he said that the Colts were going to upset the Ravens. Ray Lewis has just announced that this will be his last season, and they're going to come to play. They're going to be inspired by their leader, and to tell you the truth, I think Baltimore is going to win this game big. I don't see it even being close. I think Baltimore blows them out.
It's I will give Graham Anthony, our buddy, the big cojones award for putting his picks out on the page before everyone else. Good on you, man. And I know you did this prior to Lewis making that announcement, or you probably would have rethought this as well.
I don't think he would have. He don't like the Ravens.
Oh yeah, true enough. Great Pittsburgh fan, but we're not going there. I think Ray Lewis's retirement is an X factor. As a matter of fact, he was actually quoted as saying yesterday, "I didn't return for the Baltimore Ravens to lose," which is a pretty strong statement. This man is a leader. 17 years in the league, 12 Pro Bowl appearances. He is a machine, and getting him back on the field after that tricep injury this year is ahead of the timetable and phenomenal. Here's another stat. Andrew Luck is on. As the great season Andrew Luck has had is great. He's won a few games out of the stretch, a lot of comebacks. But on the road, here's a stat: 13 touchdown passes, 17 interceptions in 8 games. And I think they really need to exploit that. The Baltimore defense. When you think about Eddie Reed and these people, you could have a feast out there. This could be Thanksgiving all over again. You've also got Flacco needs to step up, and he needs to play the game like he played against the Giants, when he dismantled the Giants. And that team is capable of greatness. And I said early in the season that Baltimore could go deep into the playoffs and could even win it all. The Colts have also allowed 3 100-yard rushers in the last 6 games.
What? Ray Rice. I'm personally guaranteeing Ray Rice to have at least 150 all-purpose yards in this game. At least 150.
If you count Foster at 96, it was 4 in the last 6, right?
Was that right?
Yeah. So you're right.
They're going to run all over.
29th ranked run defense in the NFL right now. Ray Rice. And you know what? If he helps establish the run.
4th and 29?
Yeah, we won't forget 4th and 29. And you know what? That could be emblazoned on everybody's frontal lobe deep in the season if the Ravens were to come back and win all of this. Yeah.
Ray Rice is a real thinking ball player. Not only with the 4th and 29 guy looking for the flag on that time, but I remember another play. I think it was in that same game where he was heading into the end zone, and he wasn't sure how close the players behind him were to catching him, and he looked up at the screen as he was going into the end zone to see how far back they were.
Thinking on his feet, no doubt.
Yeah.
But I mean, these are the marks of true champions. And remember what we said: good teams find ways to win. I know that they've lost 3 of the last 4, but they've also coasted into the playoffs for a number of reasons. Injuries have been a big problem with this Baltimore team, but they've been sort of saving themselves from marriage here. I think they're waiting for the playoffs. I think the team is capable of more than they've seen in the last couple of games, and I think you're right. I think they're going to put it together, and you're right. This could be a blowout. this could be a schooling for Andrew Luck. But again, nothing is over with Andrew Luck until the last whistle. Wait to see. Finally, one of the crowning games of this week, Seattle is in Washington to play the Redskins. I was very impressed with the way they handled Dallas last week. You know, a true game of Cowboys and Indians, and the Indians won. So, Alfred Morris, by the way, who I picked for my team player of the week last week, 200 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. So, he came in big for me. He was a long shot to win, right? We've got a lot going on here. 2 of the top 3 rushers in the game by yards this year. Behind Peterson, you've got Marshawn Lynch, and you've got Alfred Morris. Both of these teams have won 7 of their last 8 to get into the playoffs.
And 2 super rookie quarterbacks.
Man, oh man, it just gets better and better.
It's going to be a very exciting game.
You know, RG3, we were talking about the stats last week, and I dug this out for you. He has only thrown 5 interceptions the whole season, which ties him for the lowest in the league among qualified quarterbacks. And also, his interception percentage this year, 1.3%. Second only to our favorite quarterback, Tom Brady. I just wanted to get a rise out of you, but that didn't seem to work. Yeah, okay. He reaches over in a minute and grabs me by the face.
He forgot about the rule that we're not allowed to say positive things about Brady on the show, but that's all right, you know.
Okay, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I have to apologize to the gods that be. Well, it's funny we were talking about Brady because the next person I want to mention now is Richard Sherman. We all remember how Sherman handled Brady.
That's my favorite player.
Yeah. Well, Sherman early in the season snubbed Brady, you know, got in his face and the tweets and everything, which was let's face it, it was a little classless. You're right. I mean, regardless of who he did that to. And you know what? Maybe part of the reason he was snubbed in the Pro Bowl, but you know what? He's also tied for the lead for corners or in the NFL with 8 interceptions this year.
Jennings.
Richard Sherman.
Oh yeah, Jennings. He's tied with Jennings.
Oh, he's tied with Jennings. Yes. And you know what? That makes him a pretty formidable opponent. I'm kind of wondering why he would be overlooked. You know, with those kind of stats. And maybe it's a lesson. But whatever the case, RG3 has a big task ahead of him this week where he's going to stretch that field when you're dealing with Sherman. So that's something that we're going to watch. The Seahawks also have put up more points in the last 5 games than any other NFL team. And in 3 of those games, it was 150 points over a stretch. So sick numbers in offense.
Washington has an X factor, though. And his name is London Fletcher. And he's going to have his defense ready to play. They're not going to put 50 points up on this Washington defense. London Fletcher is going to have a huge game. And I see Washington coming out on top. It's going to be close. I still see Washington beating them because of London Fletcher.
I think it's going to be a game of turnovers. I think that at the end of the day, RG3 has been nearly mistake-free this year. But I will point out, though, actually he says he's at 100% now.
Oh, is that right?
He's coming out and saying he's 100%.
The odds makers have Seattle as 3-point favorites in this one. Most of the experts are picking them.
Well, they're wrong. Just categorically, they're wrong. Washington wins this close, but it is interesting. Russell Wilson in the last 8 games, 16 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions.
Wow.
So you know what? We have the makings of one of the best games ever to be played in playoff history here.
Yes.
2 teams so evenly matched. If this was in Seattle, I'd give it to the Seahawks, without a doubt. At 8-0 this year at home, the 12th man. Right now,
5 away, but I think they won their last 2 on the road. They beat the Bears 1 week, and there was another team that they beat 1 week as well.
Yes, you're right. And you know, in the last 3 home games, Alfred Morris has rushed for over 100 yards. So lots of good things.
Alfred Morris also became the Washington Redskins' all-time single-season leading rusher last week.
Nice.
Not sure what the exact number was, but I've seen it.
Look at the rookie bumper crop this year. And you know what? Judging apples and oranges, you've got running backs like, Martin in Tampa Bay. You've got Alfred Morris, who I think is now head and shoulders above from a stats perspective. You've got RG3. You've got Russell Wilson. You've got Andrew Luck. I had to stop and think there. We were just talking about him. How do you pick a winner? What determines who is going to be that MVP, or is going to be Rookie of the Year, I should say? One of them could end up being Rookie of the Year. or MVP as well. I don't know. If I had to put my money on one of those, it would be RG3, only because of what he's accomplished. He's won that division. He's played an incredible year. 9 games this year without an interception, which is sick. I've said sick a lot today, and that's because you're sick, and we're working through the flu here, and I'm hoping that he's not going to give it to me. But I can't remember the last year in the NFL where we had these many high caliber rookies that have played and made a difference. Of course, when we talked about how quarterbacks have changed over the last few years and how they're more game ready, so that makes a difference. So usually it's running backs, and then of course you know what, we talk about rookie of the year, or we talk about MVP of the league. Kind of hard to overlook Adrian Peterson now too, after what he's accomplished. They've made the playoffs, and I thought he was a real class act. I got to bring this up. I got to say it because I was never a big AP fan. Only because early in his career he held the ball high, he fumbled the football a lot. He's grown in the role, and obviously he's got skills to the second man in history to run for 2,000 yards behind Dickerson. So you've got. They're interviewing him after the game, and he finds he's 9 yards short, and he said, "You got to be quite honest with it." He said, "I wasn't really thinking about the record." He said, "I was more concerned about the win." And you know what? How many times have we seen this level of athlete push for that extra bit to get that record when the team suffers and the team loses? They don't make the playoffs, but got the record. This was the other way around. It was all about the team. It was all about he just did what he had to do. He played his game. If Ponder throws the ball next play, he throws the ball, whatever it takes to win. And we also saw that same thing with Russell Wilson with the rookie record for touchdown passes. He tied it, and he ran that last one in. He had an opportunity to throw the ball, ran the 3 yards to get the win, make sure of the standing, right? And that's what it is. It's all about the team. And I feel so warm and fuzzy sometimes when I think about how these young kids are coming out of college and they're feeling good about playing as a team. And we look at what Griffin has done in Washington, and all of his teammates say, well, no, we all buy in, and he's come out and he's made a point to come and meet with all of us and learn about all of us. And it's an incredible establishment, the Washington Redskins this year, how he has become a veteran quarterback and has that whole team behind him, and he understands everybody.
He's wearing the C.
He's wearing the C, and he deserves to wear the C.
Yeah.
He's a natural born leader, and I just can't wait to see how he rewrites the record book, because I think he's head and shoulders above people like Brady, Drew Bledsoe.
Listen, when he's completely healthy and he gets a couple more years into him, he might be Aaron Rodgers, only with legs. You know what I'm saying? He might be up to the caliber of to throw like Aaron Rodgers, but to scramble like Michael Vick. He's that good.
Yeah, and without the concussions.
Yeah.
So that's the 4 games this week, folks. And we're looking at some really exciting football. Stick around and we'll have our final thoughts for the week. Hi, welcome back with our final thoughts for the week. And as you can see, my friend here has found a way to keep his flu at bay. Or maybe it's just a head cold. Head, beer, never mind. Who do you like this week?
I like the Baltimore Ravens at home to pound the Indianapolis Colts.
I have to agree with you there. But I'm going to pick a different team. I'm actually going to pick the Cincinnati Bengals, who I'm picking to go into Houston this week and win on the stellar defense they've been playing in the last half of the season. Who do you like for a player this week?
Ray Rice. Ray Rice of the Baltimore Ravens going to run for 150 plus.
Gotcha, Megara. Turn on his after his Lucky Charms.
Oh, Ray Rice.
Ray Weiss. Michael Week.
That information is brought to you by Heineken.
Hey, I didn't get anything with that product shot. I don't even remember that endorsement, but we'll take it. Absolutely. My pick this week, Eddie Reed. I think for the Baltimore Ravens, as a defensive player, has a huge, huge game this week. Okay, so that's the way we saw it this week. Some of us saw it more than one. Just hit the one in the middle, man. You'll be doing fine. That's the way we saw it this week, folks. Come back next week and see how we did. We'll have a little bit of a better indication as to the teams that are left. We'll continue to follow the teams through the playoffs until we crown a winner. And hopefully this week I make good on that pick and I get within 2 of you, and maybe I can change the barley race a little bit. So until next week, it's good night from me.
And it's good night from this lad.
Hey,
Have
have fun.